Welcome to Uncommon Courtesy,
where we give you the courtesy of conversation.
That's uncommonly spoke of.
I'm D-Mac.
I'm Wesley.
And this the show.
D-Mac.
Yeah, what's up? State of the Union last night.
Hey, I'm going to be honest with you, man. That really, it solidified my faith in Joe Biden. I know we talk about politics all the time on the show. This is what we do. But it really solidified my faith in voting for Joe Biden again. Yeah. I know there's a long way to go. There's a lot more that can happen in this amount of time right here. But I was like, I've been kind of disenchanted to kind of use that word by his overall
demeanor.
Yeah, man, just like lack of energy. But I mean, I was having a conversation. I don't know if I was speaking with you today or who I was talking with about it. But I was basically saying, like, overall, man, the biggest thing is that his age, he's 80, 81 years old.
Yeah, he's pretty old.
And so that's let's start there. Let's start right there with that subject right there.
Yeah.
He's 80, 81 years old.
How's Donald Trump? What, 79?
77, 78, 79, somewhere around there, about 80. You know what I mean? Same difference.
Retirement age.
After you get out, after when you're no longer like 18 and below, those little 4 and 5 year marks don't even matter no more.
Well, yeah, that's how I remember I turned 25 and I was like, damn, I got nothing to look forward to after this until retirement.
But yeah, I mean, and like I'm saying at the same time, okay, so his age, we all understand his age, but at the same time, his age on top of being the president of the United States. So every day, anything happens, you're out in front of the camera, all the time, speaking about mundane things. They're not mundane to everyone, but they're very mundane.
Yeah.
All the time have to give some type of a stump speech pretty much about everything. So that's wearing on him being older, and also, just the amount of time that you're being put out in front of the camera all the time is probably what we see a lot of times in the fatigue factor with him.
Yeah.
But what I got from just watching him is that Joe Biden's probably one of the best statesmen we've had in a very long time. Probably, I mean, maybe outside of possibly Bill Clinton.
He gave a great commanding speech. Like you could see the energy. You could see he was there. Yeah, he stuttered a little bit, but I mean, anybody would. You see, he needed some water up there. But he was with it. As soon as the one caveman looking woman,
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yes. As soon as she started screaming at him, he was like, all right, cool. You thought that would, you're thinking he's reading off a teleprompter or something, but no, he's like, all right, cool. Let's talk about this. Let's get on it. He's like, pass the bill. He's like, because the bill I'm trying to pass, it doesn't mean where someone comes to the border and then they get to stay here for 6 to 8 years until they get deported, or 4 to 6 years till they get deported. He was like, we will deport them within 6 weeks and send them right back. He's like, but y'all don't want. He's like, then pass the bill. And they was like, oh.
Did you notice during that part? I think his name is Lankford or something like that. He's a Republican senator. I'm not sure which state he's from. Maybe Oklahoma, one of those states like that. He was actually one of the co-authors of the bill, sponsors of that bill, helped write that bill. They pushed him out there like, hey, we're going to get a bill done.
Yeah.
And kind of made him damn near waste his time. He went out and actually spoke out like, hey, this was a good bill, solid bill. This is a dude who's probably, I think he's a deep red state Republican, and he mouthed during the time when Biden spoke and said, 1,500 new border agents, all the different things that he said, he mouthed, that's true. That's true. This is a Republican at the State of the Union speech mouthing that's true. What he said, that what a Democratic incumbent is saying is true. That speaks volumes about the honesty factor about who wants to do something about the border. They're basically asking Biden to make an executive order that with teeth only, that doesn't really hold any basis in fact, as far as like keeping people from keeping on coming across the border and then getting them out. Here, make an executive order and just close the border. It just wants something that just looks good instead of making an actual law about it. Make a law about it. Do your job. You guys are there to legislate. And
I finally had to look something up. I was like, which bills have Marjorie Taylor Greene introduced? And there's 12 of them. I'm gonna read them off to you. 21st Century Free Speech Act, introduced, not passed. Number 2, Justice for Vaccine Victims Act. Number 3, Stopping the Spread of Taxpayer-Funded Bioweapons Act. Number 4, Kyle H. Rittenhouse Congressional Gold Medal Act. 5, Brian A. Terry Memorial Eliminate the ATF Act. Number 6, HR 2446 Award Police Officers Present During Black Lives Matter Protests. That's just 6 of them. She has done nothing.
I mean, she's telling you where she stands about everything. Some of this stuff is just really good politics for these people. Like, but people couldn't wait to yell out, "You lie," because that worked for a guy back when Obama
he did it to Obama, and it's been going on ever since.
But I think in the first day, I think his name was Joe. I can't remember his full name, but I think he raised like $1 million or something like that, or day right after that for his re-election campaign. And we all know every House member is up for re-election, so it behooves them to come out there and kiss Trump's ass, and pretty much do anything they can to kind of play down Biden during his time. Because
they want to funnel money to their own campaign, and they also want to electrify the base. Since Nikki Haley dropped out for the moment, you know what I'm saying, and they pushed it back where Trump's not going to be really prosecuted until after the election. They're going to have to get on. They have to, excuse me, or jump on his dick. Yeah,
they got to get on the bandwagon with Trump. I mean, so that, like I say, but
did you see what he was doing during? My bad. Did you see the video of what he was doing during the State of the Union?
No.
He was using his phone. He's on Truth Social, and he's using his phone. He's putting filters on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris' face, and so it's like he has the face where they're like their eyes are all bugged. Like,
yeah,
he was clowning.
Like, to me, I mean, I took last night's speech. I understand.
Yeah.
Last night's speech. I
really
funny. Wanted to see kind of what was, what are we dealing with right now?
Yeah.
Cause from what they're showing us, okay, he's not there. Like going back to the point where I'm saying, as far as a statesman, and I'm not saying that to just use hyperbole and kind of try to speak him up and all that, but if you watched him, man, he basically was negotiating with the Republicans in the middle of his speech. They would say something, he had something to say back. He used Marjorie Taylor Greene's button she gave him as a prop during his speech against her when she started yelling out.
And he looked at her parents and that lady's, the woman who died. He looked up there and said, "I apologize.
Yeah,
I lost the children too, so I understand." But he also said the same. He said some smart stuff. He's like, yeah, there's immigrants in here killing people. It's like, but there's also other people here killing other people. And I'm happens. Like, facts. And people die.
At the end of the day, they don't want to talk about gun laws. I don't want to talk about gun laws. I'm not big on that, but I'm saying, though, they'll talk about, oh, this immigrant killed this woman. Okay, that could happen. Anything could happen. I mean, immigrants, I wouldn't even say immigrants, but I'm not even sure the guys who killed 3,000 people during 9/11 were here legally or illegally or not.
I guess they found a passport at the bottom of the rubble somehow, but that's a whole nother topic. Yeah,
definitely not get into that. But like I'm saying, more than anything else, man, I'm at a point right now where I'm looking at that State of the Union, and I'm listening to him talk about how many jobs he's created, how good the economy is doing during this time, and it was an inspiring speech.
He put some fire to it. He's up for re-election. He had to do something to make himself look like a commander in chief, and he looked like one. I'll give it to him because you started while I got home later before you, and so you're watching it, and I'm like, I turned around, I start clowning. I'm like, man, he looked like he had a stroke. Then he starts talking, and I'm like, oh, he is all there.
I'm trying to tell you.
Even if you can point out that he stumbled, but he grew up with a stutter. So,
and that's what I was going to say.
You know what I'm saying?
He grew up with a stutter. For him to have overcome that means a lot. And so at the end of the day, man, I feel like right now, the Democrats have a very good chance of getting a re-election out of Joe Biden, but it's going to be a hard-fought battle. You're dealing with a person who can say and pretty much do anything, and people will just accept it. I was talking to a good friend of mine today about the State of the Union speech. He basically told me that them using January 6th as a saying that, oh, this was one of the closest things since the Civil War to overthrowing the government was just hyperbole. They were just basically they're just talking. I said, man, wait.
No, that was true.
That was very much true.
What's crazy? That just throws me off about people. There was January 6th. I'm like, what if they would have succeeded?
They also try to compare it all the time to, man, what about when liberals, they burn down cities and doing all this other stuff? I said, people protest all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The largest protest that we've had that turned into something big was the Boston Tea Party. And, basically, I wouldn't even say the Civil War was a protest because it didn't start out as a protest. It started out as that became an insurrection.
Yeah, it started with the Nat Turner uprising, and people realized that, hey, these black folks don't want to be slaves.
And it's the day that they chose to do it on. When you're going to do the transition of power, you decide to meet here and then storm the Capitol to prevent the transition of power, the peaceful transition of power in our country, which has never been done before. That's the difference.
And it was organized.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? So this is what I mean.
But America's a fallen state anyways, because the whole fact that you let people try to commit treason on the steps. Now, let's not even call it insurrection. It was treason. You went to overthrow the American government, and they still letting these people make laws. That's why if your lives are messed up and nothing's getting passed and nothing's getting done because all the people that have something to do with it are still in power.
Absolutely. I like the fact that he used the first part of the State of the Union to speak on Ukraine. I know we've talked about Ukraine before, and I'm a staunch supporter of our support for Ukraine.
And I am not.
I understand. But I'm like, hey, right now, either we can spend a couple $100 billion right now, or we can spend trillions later dealing with a greater conflict. He's smart. No American boots on the ground. You're fighting one of your biggest enemies, keeping them in check by sending aid to another country for they can fight for you. And I guarantee you,
it's a smart move.
If we were fighting age still right now, where they could actually come in,
I'd be nervous.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to be, but this is what we don't tend to pay attention to. We're talking about. He talked about NATO. This is what this next election is really about, man. It's about America standing in the world. People don't understand like what's going on, even in the what is that, the South Pacific Seas, along there with China and all that. Like a lot of countries are starting to kind of get scared and nervous because they see how we're balking at helping Ukraine. So they're going over to China now. They were a part of our union, like, okay, yeah, we're with America, we're going to help you guys out. But now they're seeing it like we may not give the support that we've been guaranteeing for years. This is what's really happening. Like, us not doing what we say we're going to do, us breaking our word. We broke our word to the Kurd. I think it was the what was that?
Well, they left them all
in Iraq.
They left them all to die.
In Syria too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This has been multiple times. They're watching us as administrations change, as America wants to say we want to be. What about America? America first. Of course, we're always America first. That's why America is where we're at. But having people who understand our standing in the world is what keeps us powerful is important. That's why I like the fact that he spoke about Ukraine first and kind of how he painted that picture out. If you looked at the what was that? The Republican House Johnson, or whatever his name is.
He back there rolling his eyes.
Yeah, he is. But he's agreeing with a number of different things that they know to be true.
Yeah.
These people know these things to be true. You put this guy in office. We put Trump in office, man. This is just.
I feel he had more class than Nancy Pelosi when she was back there for Trump's speech.
Man. She was a killer.
She
Pelosi was a killer, man.
She gave him that clap.
She was a true trooper, man. She passed over 400 laws during when she had the numbers when Obama first came in. She passed 400 bills.
Yeah,
it was Harry Reid of the Senate when we had the House and the Senate during that time who kind of flubbed the whole entire thing. But Nancy Pelosi is a killer. I know she got rich being a House Speaker. You know what I mean? She did.
Why wouldn't you?
But they're trying to pass a law right now. The guy Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
He put out a tweet or something like that, and then he erased it, talking about they should maybe even pay these people more, but make it so they cannot benefit from laws that they're passing by making money off the stock market. They shouldn't be able to put money into the stock market.
They shouldn't be able to play the stocks or none of that stuff. And I've told you before, and I've said it on here before, they should have to go live in the communities that they poll to. You know what I'm saying? If you are an elected congressman, a senator, or any of that stuff, I feel that you should have to, if you're supposed to be doing stuff for us, the American people. Mm-hmm. And I feel that once you need to pass laws that help us. And on top of that, for at least 4 months out the year, mm-hmm. you have to go live in the poorest community that you represent for 4 months. We'll give you $1,000 in an apartment. But then after that, you have to find a job in that poor community, the poorest community in your district. You have to find a job and work it for 4 months. You can't use any of the money that you have on hand, that you have in savings, and no one can give you any money. You have to work for it. And watch, if they pass a bill like that, watch America turn around real quick.
Now, I understand. I think you
they'd be like, it was horrible. I worked an hour and I couldn't even afford to eat at McDonald's.
But I think a lot of those people come from working backgrounds. I think after a while, it's when they kind of change. You look at Ocasio, what's her name?
AOC,
yeah. She comes from a working background.
No, they didn't like her, bro. She was a waitress before she got that job.
They made fun of her.
And she could, they made fun of her. They're like, haha, look at you. I was like, how you gonna make fun of her? She one of us.
But at the end of the day, though, I think a lot of them come from working backgrounds, and in the beginning. And
in the beginning, but now they're too out of touch with the normal people. Let what's his name? Let Lindsey Graham go greet people at Walmart and get cussed out when he asks for a receipt.
He's way out of touch with society right
he's only cool when he's like, can you find the 14,000 votes? Can you just find it for me?
Did you say that too?
Yeah, of course they had him on phone recording in Georgia. You never hear that?
No.
Oh yeah, he's on phone recording. That's why I'm like, why ain't they prosecuting him? Yeah.
I said, can you find
14,000 votes for us? Yeah, in Georgia. That's why they have. That's why it's part of the stuff.
And we're having a conversation about whether this happened or not, or who should be, like if we did something like this called conspiracy. You know what I mean? I know a number of us understand conspiracy laws, or we've heard about them, or we understand when you're on the phone, don't talk on the phones.
Yeah.
You know this already.
Yeah, why you say that on the phone?
Like, you know what I mean? Like, Jesus. And this man said, can you find me 14,000 votes?
Recorded.
And we record it. And we're having a conversation about whether or not someone should be convicted of this, or whether or not they tried to overthrow a duly elected official and take the White House for themselves. It's crazy. But okay, back to
that State of the Union. See, we get sidetracked, but it's
crazy.
It'd be real like that. Yeah, yeah.
It's nuts. You see, the guy they had, the Marine guy, I guess he stood up talking about his son. I think his son died during the Afghanistan withdrawal.
Yeah.
And that's what he started yelling about, like,
yeah, they kicked him out.
Something.
I think they arrested him.
I mean, yeah, he should have been arrested. He's like,
you're a civilian. You don't
gave you the opportunity to be here.
Yeah.
You came here for one reason, to yell out about this. You could have done that any other time you wanted to, but you want to come here and yell out about how many other people died during the Iraq war. I'm not mad at him for doing it, but it's like you're a plant.
They use you as a pawn, bro. Like that's the cool piece about it. Yo, RP to your son, because military service.
Absolutely.
Yo, I salute to the military men and women that serve, and salute to their spouses that serve too, because you serve also. You know,
you would hate to lose a kid.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the place for you to do that. They use you as a pawn, which is cold game. They could have done something. They could have started a fund for you. They could have passed, these people bringing you in could have passed bills to make it so things like that wouldn't happen. Like they'd have more security exiting, but they used you just so you could scream at the president while he's giving a speech. And now you got a record.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, like she went up there. She wanted. I like the fact that how they had that. It was a black woman who was a representative
right next to her.
Sit, because they understood who to put next to her. They're gonna make sure. We have a very much a sense of like family. We understand who our family is, even if we don't even necessarily like our family or what they've done. We're always going to stick by our family. So she probably said, "Put me right next to her." She made sure she boxed her out. Joe Biden went up to her at the end of the day. He made sure he went up to her because he understood what he was here for.
Yeah.
When he first saw her, he kind of did the.
He's like, "Hey, wait, you ain't even dressed."
Yeah, this is crazy. You just got a bunch of Trump stuff. Like you came here to
cause havoc. Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's this one. I mean. I don't know if she's eventually going to run for something higher office, but she'll never get elected.
No, she'll never be president. She's.
We thought that.
I'm surprised she's still there. She's an embarrassment.
I mean, wherever district she's in,
they love her.
They love her.
They love her.
This is exactly what they're looking for.
She's just an embarrassment. I mean, like, you could be fuck decency. Excuse my language. I don't care. There's no decency in politics anymore.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't know why Democrats trying to be decent or none of that stuff. But I was watching the speech, man. The one thing that was bothering me, they're talking about, inflation and all that. And I was talking to somebody today about that, and I'm like, I started kind of giggling. I'm like, bro, you think prices is really going to go down? Nah, they saw that you're willing to pay it. The price ain't never going to go down.
And the biggest thing is like, it's not. We live in a capitalistic society. At what point in time is where you're going to say your president should be able to tell you how much you should rent your house out for? If you own a house. And someone comes and say you have a cap on your house, you're gonna look at them and call them a socialist because this is your house, or they're gonna tell you how much you can sell your goods for to somebody, or something that you make, something that you made up. Here, no, there's a price cap on that. You can't sell that for any more. You only can make a X% profit on this. Period. I mean, like if someone were to tell you something like that, how would you feel about it?
I'd be like, who are you?
Exactly, and that's what inflation truly boils down to.
You wasn't with me shooting in the gym.
Period. And people, we act like we don't understand that. We only want to, the president needs to stop all this inflation on food. Go tell the farmer how much he should be able to sell his goods. Go tell
Kellogg's that, bro. Kellogg's had a 28% increase on their food. And then the guy that runs Kellogg's was like, if you can't afford to eat, maybe you should eat cereal at night.
For dinner.
He
said, eat cereal for dinner. It's cheaper for you.
It's cheaper for you. Bruh.
But drug bills, as far as like pharmaceutical companies, they've come in and started trying to put caps on them because they've gotten way out of hand.
The pharmaceutical companies, when he started messing with them, they will assassinate Joe Biden. The pharmaceutical companies, people don't. Now, this is not a conspiracy. Look this up. The pharmaceutical companies are more dangerous than any other organization in America.
I mean, the pharmaceutical companies were derived from where? Do we know? I'm gonna tell you where. I mean, Rockefeller, they started making a lot of pharmaceuticals out of petroleum, I believe it was, or started putting a lot of petroleum or something like that in pharmaceuticals. He invested a lot of money into doctors and pharmaceuticals and the drug industry a long time ago.
Because pharmaceuticals is the one thing you can't go without.
I'm telling you,
just like gasoline.
If you go back and do your research, it's really been derived from. He put a lot of money into the. I can't remember what the name of the agency is, but Rockefeller. I mean, he had Standard Oil, and when they started basically disbanding Standard Oil and made them split up into like 50 different companies. Standard Oil turned into like Exxon and Chevron and other companies like that. Those were, I think, it's Exxon and Chevron, or at least a couple of them that came out of Standard Oil. He put his money into the pharmaceutical companies, which then put their money into agriculture. So all these things, the pharmaceutical company is not a standalone industry.
No, and it's trillion-dollar company.
Yeah, they're all intertwined. We get into a whole bunch.
That's for a whole nother topic.
Talk about it.
Yeah,
but so at the end,
and I got to drive later.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, man, I'm excited for this election cycle right now. I was kind of worried. I ain't gonna lie. Man, I'm like, man, is he up for this one right here?
He looked strong. I give him that. He looked strong. He was worded correctly. He stumbled a little bit, whatever. But I mean, even when they yelled at him, I'm like, oh, it's throwing him off track. No, he jumped right on him. Boom. Then do this.
And went to war right in the middle of the fight.
Right in the middle of it.
So you don't want a $2 trillion tax cut for you? He's like,
you don't want that for you? Just give the money on back. Just say it. Just give it on. I was like, ooh.
He came ready to fight, man. He came ready to fight. And I think that I'm ready for him to have a debate with Trump. I think, of course, Trump's going to throw out his zingers and everything else and say everything. This person, he's willing to say and do anything. And there's a crowd for that.
We're going to live stream that one.
It's been like pretty much when you look at it like the guy you want to have a beer with. That crowd, when they win, it fucks over America. When George Bush won, when that guy you want to have a beer with won, look what it did to America. So we got to start looking when Trump won last time. War. Look, I mean, it's just to me, man, the biggest thing, man, is saying, I'm like basically saying, fuck NATO. That's to me is like, and I'm not even big on NATO, but I understand what it means. Like what that means for our defense. It's bigger than just them. It's also our flank over with Japan, our flank over with South Korea. They're looking at this. All those countries, Philippines, all those countries are looking at what is America going to do in this case? That's why they haven't jumped on Taiwan, because they understand we will come.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, man, we're gonna hurt our safety for years to come if we play games with our responsibilities right now.
And all the stuff that's in place. There's a ton of stuff that's already in place in America, so we get to wake up and have things to complain about that don't really affect us. And people don't understand that.
At all.
Yeah, at all.
We've
been attacked, one major attack, and that was 9/11, maybe by a foreigner, but maybe.
And I'm talking to, like I said, I talk to a friend of mine consistently. He's an ardent Trump supporter.
We should have your friend on.
Yeah, I really want.
I think we should. I mean, you bring him up. He's your Republican expert, and I like that.
And honestly, man, he gives me a lot of insight and stuff. I know we go back and forth with things all the time, but
I think his energy. I think we need to start having guests here with some energy like that.
We do. I think we probably have to have two, because it'll be 2 against 1 probably sometimes. But I think that you're very unbiased.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm unbiased. I'm like, me. Excuse my language, y'all. I'm like, fuck them both. You know what I'm saying? Where's my tax returns?
What he said to me at one point in time was like, oh, man, we're giving all this money to these immigrants, and what about the homeless? I'm like, man, when have you ever heard a Republican want to give some money to the homeless, man?
What happened? When they wanted to give it to the poor folks?
Ever.
They're trying to cut food stamps.
That's what I said.
They don't even bother them.
That's what I said, too. Man.
Social Security. Be like, that's my money. They'd be like, well, you can't have it.
It's the same thing as when they try to act like they care. They're pro-life. But then as soon as the baby's born, we don't want to give them child care. Yeah. We don't want to let the woman off work for any time. We don't want to help the women with prenatal care.
Health care.
This stuff. If they don't want to do anything.
You're going to pay $40 for this formula.
We don't want to educate these kids, but you know what I mean?
We don't even want to feed them at the school.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Listen to what they're really talking about and what's really going on. We got to really start paying attention to what's happening. Man.
It seems like they only care about busting nuts.
Damn.
I mean, I just thought about that. Like, that's all they care about.
But even then, I can't.
They'd be like, you got to pay child support as soon as the sperm goes in there.
You heard about that one?
Yeah, remember we talked about it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
man.
crazy.
They got that happening right now. I think that's going to become law of the land. With the way things are going, they're going to make that law.
Well, if they're going to do that, then you have to do something for the fathers too. You have to make a parenting plan right then and there. But I know Florida has the best one, where it's like, look, if you're sleeping around and you weren't in a relationship with the guy for at least a year, he doesn't have to pay child support.
That's the law?
Yeah, it's a law in Florida. I mean, if it was safe for black folks to live in, I'll Google it, bro. That was the. I've been telling people that for a minute. Yeah, so Florida
been doing it for a year, bro.
Yeah, no. If you haven't had a consistent, if you were just sleeping around with some dude and you got pregnant, if a woman was sleeping around with some guy and she got pregnant,
I don't know about it. I'm not.
I'll Google that shit right now.
Google that shit right now. I need you to Google that shit because I can't believe. I mean, because that just sounds outlandish. I'm not gonna lie.
No, because it makes sense. It's like, look, you can't just go sleep around with 30 dudes.
Yeah, but I mean,
and then have a baby.
It's your responsibility. If you, I don't care what. I mean, it's still your. I think that the law should be if a person, if you're both of you do not consent to having the kid, then there should be like okay, maybe you don't have to pay child support. But if both of you consent to having the kid, then, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. But it's a hard one to even say for that, too, because as soon as a guy gets you pregnant, but I don't consent to this, it's going to happen every single time. Most of the dudes are like,
I always wanted to make a law where it's like if a woman's going to have a baby by a guy she ain't married with, she has to get his permission to use his sperm.
I don't know. I think she got his permission when he, you know what I mean, threw it into the atmosphere. I figured that's pretty much permission right there. You know what I mean? Like,
because then that's a slippery slope.
It's a hard one. All of this is a really hard one.
That's a slippery slope. Now think about it. And women don't say that once you shoot it out of your body, it's no longer yours. That's like saying, well, once there's a life in your stomach,
what are you gonna say?
It's no longer your stomach. That's a life. It's the same thing.
They do kind of take it away from you, but it's a hard thing to kind of debate on a live, you know, on a right now live kind of a show. But I do feel like there does need to be something done about it. But how do you even know whose kid it is sometimes? You know what I mean? If she gets pregnant and you don't know, but you got this dude paying child support. If I got to pay just because you say it's mine, how does anyone know?
I mean, Maury knew.
He don't know until after the kid's born, man.
Yeah, no one knows. Exactly. So what they're making you do is like, so the woman will be pregnant and then she'll have the baby and she's able to get retroactive pay.
Dang, retroactive pay.
Retroactive pay. That's what I'm saying. So it's like
you got to pay a person thousands. You got to say put aside. Racks. You got to put aside racks just in case. Damn, this is getting crazy. I'm happy I'm not out here just dropping babies or something like that anymore. I mean, that's not my place. Not saying anymore. I only have one child. So, you know, at the end of the day, that's crazy.
Yeah, I got too many. I got 3 I know of and 6 in the wind.
That's okay. I mean, that's a good amount. 3 kids is good, man. You keeping the birth rate up. That's a positive thing around here, man. Good thing. But back to the I want to get back onto the State of the Union. I really believe that this is going to be a good election cycle. I hope everything kind of plays out the way that a positive way for everybody. You know, everyone can kind of go out and have a good election cycle. We don't see anything too negative happen. But I think that we're going to have a very, very good election cycle.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a show because you know who's the greatest showman in our country's ever seen.
He is. I'm not going to lie, man. He's funny TV, but he's also like, you're a fucking idiot, bro. Like, I mean, I would never want to see you run. I can't have a person who I feel is a fucking idiot run the country. I'm sorry. It's not about, I've done a lot of idiotic shit in my life, period. We all have, period, plain and simple. But I don't run the country. So I'm just looking at the person like, hey, man, you can't be stupid as fuck and plan on running this country. That's just how I look at it. You're a fucking clown.
I mean, George Bush did it.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. The guy
he was an idiot.
Have a beer
that
with.
boy could duck a shoe, but he was an idiot.
He could duck a shoe. He was a cold one at ducking that shoe.
He sure did.
He ducked that shoe. Like,
you know, in the country where they threw the shoe at him, they in Iraq they made a bronze statue of the shoe.
Did they?
Yeah.
They beat shot that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look this up. I'm gonna dig deeper for it
because it's not true. Man.
It is true. I read it. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. Watch. So I'm gonna look it up.
Hey, listen. Nobody's gonna tell you if you ain't been messing with this girl for a year straight. Like, first of all, you got to prove that.
No, you have to. It says you have to. If you're not in a relationship with the person, you're just fooling around, and you decide to have a baby. He's not obligated to pay child support.
You know how hard that. I mean, a dude's gonna be able to duck his obligation anytime he wants.
If you can't prove that what you wasn't, you can't go around and sleep. I used to go to paternity or court all the time here, and there were so many dudes on the list. There's so many guys on the list. I remember one girl was in there. She had 11 dudes on the list, and 2 of their last names was Doe. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you can't go around sleep with a whole bunch of dudes and then put that kind of burden on a man. And so Florida passed on that. Watch, I'm gonna find it on the next episode. I'm gonna find that shit.
Hey, I don't believe it. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is my guy right here. But I'm not.
No, you ain't gotta. And when I bring it in, you're gonna eat that crow.
Hey,
you're gonna eat that church's chicken crow.
That's a hard one, man.
That's a dope law. I mean, if Florida wasn't racist as fuck, I'd be down there. Can't catch me.
It's a tough one to do, man, because you're basically telling a person you got to prove that you were in a relationship with this person for him to give you child support.
No, it's showing that you can't.
Women down there are going to have kids who won't have a father in their life who will not get support.
No, that you can still have parental rights. You just can't get child support.
Well, listen. So I basically don't have any.
If a woman traps you in a situation,
anything, but I can still see the kid though.
Yeah, of course. No, that's called co-parenting.
Oh man, okay, listen.
You can't just go around and
the kid lives with her for a majority of the time
because
of anything.
If she has financial,
it doesn't matter. Why?
We're off topic. Why? Next episode, I'm gonna come ready. I'm gonna come ready.
There is no topics. There is no topics right now. We're just having a conversation. Think about that. So what you're saying right now is that if a woman, say it's a woman or a man, it doesn't matter.
The child support laws in America are archaic. And they're old. They need to be updated.
I think so too.
Florida updated a couple.
I think that there should be a cap on how much anyone should have to pay for child support.
I think it should be $1,000 at the max.
It depends on.
I don't care if you make billions of dollars a year. $1,000. If you can't afford to take care of your own kid, first of all, if you need child support anyways, that shows that you just can't take care of the kid. No way.
So if the kid is being taken care of by the other parent because the other one's either unwilling or incapable of doing so because of their job or whatever they got going on in their personal life, you're saying that. Say this person they could live in Washington. $1,000 a month is good
to support a child. To support a child.
I'm not laughing.
You're speaking to a man that's been doing it with two of them with $0 in child support. $1,000 at the max. I'm saying how much does it? Look, you still have to pay for your own electricity. You still have to pay for all the rent and all that stuff. Child support is for the child. It's not for your bills.
Listen to what I'm saying. So okay. So, I mean, say you live, in Washington, that's still not a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so if she's taking care of everything, she has to get a place to stay. It costs thousands of dollars to have a place to stay. Thousands.
You still gonna need a place to stay if you don't have a child.
If you got a kid, that's gonna cost you close to $1,000 a month in food. You got everything else is going
with one kid. I feed two kids. I feed two kids with $200 a month.
You crazy, man. Ain't no way you feeding two kids.
Let me tell you parents how to do it. You know how you feed your kids? Listen, no. Let me explain to you parents how you
probably bought. Let me just say this right now.
Yeah.
Let me say, I just probably bought like $300 in food. It wasn't even that much food at all. You know what I mean?
But where you shopping at?
Oh, Safeway.
See, that's why it cost you $300 and you didn't get shit. All right? Let's keep it 1,000. Let's keep it 1,000. I spend $200 a month.
There's no way.
200. You know how I do it? My kids are teenagers.
No way,
listen, parents. Let me show you how to feed your kids. You know how you do it? You buy them food. Your kids know if they're teenagers, they know how to cook, right? Okay. You buy them food that takes longer than 10 minutes to cook, and they ain't that hungry. They will not be that hungry.
We probably don't want to put this.
My kids be like, they be like,
But what I'm saying though,
I don't want to cook that mac and cheese.
It probably costs about. If you got a kid, man, it's gonna cost you $600 to $800 a month to eat.
Yeah,
for food.
Depends what you buying them.
It's gonna cost you a lot of money for food.
You better teach them how to cook. On top of that, buy some eggs, flour,
like gas, everything else you got. Then if the kids play any kind of sports, extracurricular activities, I'm not saying $1,000 is not a lot of money, and it's not helpful. I'm not saying that at all. But depending on where you live, say a person lives in New York, $1,000. I mean, say okay. On top of that, say they want their kid to go to private school. If these people, both their parents went to private school, they all went to college. They have a career, based around.
Well, let the kid go with the parents that got the money.
I don't think that's what's happened. I don't think that's always what's happened.
People should learn how to co-parent. And when you can't co-parent, that's when you have to go get parenting plans and you have to pay child support.
I think that's what's always happened. That other parents.
No, people can't co-parent because one parent is parenting off emotions. You should just co-parent. I don't care if the dude cheated on you and you got to lead a house. Co-parent. It's crazy. Women don't. Why don't you want to break? Because you're trying to prove a point. You want to leave your kid with a stranger or your auntie or something?
I think if people went to court and both of them had equal means or even pretty decent means between them, I don't think they're just giving the kid to the woman all the time. They're not. Sometimes it's just the person's like, okay, I'm willing to pay child support, and that's just what it is. Or they're getting like partial custody or whatever the case may be, 4 days, 3 days, whatever the case may be. But anyways, we'll hash this over at another time. You know what I mean? With the $200 a month and everything else like that. State of the Union was a great audition for the presidency to retain the presidency for Joe Biden. I want to say it was basically a perfect speech for him in my eyes. I mean, I know he kind of had a few times where he flubbed it a few times, but he did a really good job. It's going to make the selection cycle a lot more interesting. So, like we always say about this time.
This is Uncommon Courtesy. Like, share, subscribe. If you have any questions, or excuse me, Slipped up a little bit. What do y'all think about the State of the Union? How do you feel about it? Do you think Joe Biden was up for it? Do you feel the Republicans had a point? Like, share, subscribe. Leave your comments in the bottom. You got a topic you want us to talk about? Let us know in the comments. Send us an email.
And if you want him to tell you how you can feed your kids for $200 a month,
yo, I can do it. I do it. I do this. I'm owed 16. Hold on, I'm owed $16,000 in back child support. I've been doing this.
Cut.
All right, cut it. Cut it then. Cut it then. I'm just saying they don't want to hear that.
All right.
They don't want to hear that.
Peace.